Hello, I'm Judith Price. As Miss Lit Town, I've had the unique and wonderful opportunity to meet with Department 56 collectors all around the country. In my travels and conversations, the subject you all seem most interested in is display. Many of you have shared your tips and hints with me, and now in this video, we'd like to share some of our display ideas with you. I think we've come up with plans and suggestions that should work for everyone, and that can be adapted to just about any space. You often tell me how your whole family is involved in displaying your villages, and I think this is one of the nicest aspects of collecting. The building not just of a beautiful display, but of a beautiful tradition. We hope you find this video useful and inspiring, beginners and seasoned collectors alike.
There are many things to consider when planning a Christmas village display, such as the size of your village or the complexity of the presentation. You must have an overall master plan in mind, and the first decision you need to make is where you want to set up your village. We're going to set up one of our favorite villages under a tree. Our bay window will provide the perfect backdrop for the North Pole series. You may think your mantel is too small for a display like this. We'll show you how to make it work. We've chosen the dining room for the Dickens Village series. Our largest collection is displayed both on the buffet and the dining room table as a centerpiece. But how, you may ask, can I make my village look like this? You can, and relatively easily. For a look at how we do it, we need to go back to the beginning, to the workshop, where construction of our village display begins. We've asked one of our key display designers, Tom Underwood, to demonstrate the creative techniques used to build each of our displays. Many parts are best constructed beforehand in a workshop area where you're able to freely cut, spray, paint, and glue. Our manual outlines and illustrates each technique, as well as all the tools we use, so feel free to refer to this at any time. Keep in mind that while we have chosen to position certain mountains or roads within a particular village, these techniques and ideas are all interchangeable. Let's start in our bay window with the North Pole series. All of our setups follow a basic placement sequence. We begin with a master plan, add mountains, elevations, and waterways. Then we light and place the houses, followed by any other electrical components such as street lamps. Roadways, bridges, walls, or fences would come next, and we finish with landscaping, accessories, and snow. It is essential to make a blueprint or layout of how you want to arrange your village. Study the buildings carefully. Some have detailed sides, porches, or doorways that you'll want to feature. Keep in mind these architectural personalities when deciding where to place each building. Make your paper pattern by tracing the outline of the base of the building and labeling them, considering also mountains, ponds, roadways, and large accessories. Once the pattern is complete, you can begin the actual placement of the mountains. We have chosen to make our North Pole mountains out of styrofoam, which is available in various sizes. It can be cut to size using several different methods. Here we use a wallboard saw, following the outlines made earlier. We add shape to the foam using a hot wire. This type of tool allows us to make smooth sculptural edges. There's always the danger of burns with any electrically heated device. Make sure you use it in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions. These mountains use 2 layers of foam which are hot glued together. Notice that we have cut holes in the base of the mountains to allow for the cords to be pulled through to the outlet and back. Now we are ready to place the pond. We have chosen a plain mirror and sprayed it with crystal frost, which creates an icy effect. Our base and elevations are also made of styrofoam. The elevations are cut to shape and then shaved and smoothed with a wire brush. The elevations form an edge around the pond and are therefore placed after the pond has been set. Next, place the lights. We have used the individual UL-approved switch cord and bulb that come with each of the 12 houses in our North Pole display. Insert the light bulb assembly into the opening in the back of each building and position the houses according to your plan. Now the rest of the electrical accessories are placed. Our street lamps and other accessories can be held in place by using tacky wax. This putty-like substance allows you to bond pieces together without it being permanent. Tacks can be hot glued to the bottom of the street lamps to anchor them even more securely. The wires are pinned down with S-type floral greening pins. They can also be hidden by cutting a small trench in the foam and either pinning or taping them down. Santa and his reindeer, some of our village bright lights, look wonderful atop these mountains. Cut out a niche in the back of the foam mountain for the bright lights adapters. The wires go over the top of the mountains. Now, roadways, bridges, and fences. Department 56 makes two types of roadways that are available in pre-cut lengths of 36 inches, a cobblestone and a brick road pattern. Here, the brick pattern is cut in the workshop and placed under the front of several of the buildings. We use miniature slate pieces to construct a winding path and stairway through the village. Tom has created a unique footbridge for the elves to use in the North Pole. Taking a length of our snow fence, he snips off the tips of each slat and hot glues it to a base of twigs. He then adds railings using more twigs of various thicknesses and lengths. A piece of acrylic icicle is added as a wintry effect. Our icicles come in lengths of 18 inches and can be cut to any size. The bridge leads to a peppermint landing. Real pieces of peppermint candy are sprayed with an acrylic sealer to prevent sugar and food dyes from affecting other parts of our display. We also use them to form a peppermint wall on top of which we place candy cane fences. These are created by taking small acrylic candy canes and hot gluing them in a crisscross fashion, and then gluing them on a base. We have made hitching posts from acrylic candy canes by cutting off the curved tops and then hot gluing small wooden balls which have been painted red. These same candy canes are used to create a fountain. We've created an icy waterfall of iridescent stones by attaching them to the foam with hot glue and arranging them to look like a cascade. Now we're ready to add some landscaping. First, the pole pine trees, both the single and the set of 5, are scattered throughout the display. Some of the pole pines are used without their bases and placed directly into the foam. Next, we add the sisal trees. These sisal trees can be separated from their bases and the wire trunk placed directly into the foam. These come in a variety of sizes, from 2 inches to 22 inches. We've sprayed birch branches white and added several to our display. This mixture of trees adds a sense of realism to the display. Now we are ready to add the accessories, placing the larger pieces first. Finally, we add the snow. There are many ways to achieve the different looks and textures of snow. Real plastic snow, salt, baking soda, glitter, and a blanket of new fallen snow. For North Pole, we have chosen canning pickling salt because it glistens and complements the sparkling foam. Sprinkling the salt throughout the display hides the wires and road edges and makes the mountains look magical. Be careful not to place salt directly on fine wooden surfaces. Sweep excess snow from roadways and ponds with a small artist's brush. A touch of earth-colored landscape material in front of the reindeer barn adds an excellent effect. Finally, a dash of iridescent glitter sprinkled throughout the display makes the North Pole truly sparkle. We've selected our living room mantel for the Christmas in the City display. To increase our display space, we have extended our 12-inch mantel another 4 inches by adding a 16-inch shelf. We have pulled the shelf forward 1 inch away from the wall to allow space to drop the cords. Attach the shelf at either end with C-clamps. Since we will not be using any mountains in this setting, we begin with our base. We cover most of the shelf with full-length strips of our brick road, which are hot glued directly to the surface. We are displaying 12 houses, and in this setup use 2 of our 6-socket light sets. These light cords attach to an extension cord, which will run down the side of the mantel. In addition, we will use 1 individual light set for the town tree. This tree comes with accessories which will be added later. Next, we place our double street lamps, again using tacky wax to hold them down and white adhesive tape to cover and hold the wires. In this section, we have cut a small slit in the road to hide the wires. Tom has created a special wall using our brick road. Cut 2 1-inch by 12-inch pieces of foam core and then hot glue them together. Pieces of brick road are cut 3 bricks high and the same length as the foam core. Next, the brick road is hot glued into place to complete the wall. Using an X-Acto knife, the brick road sections are scored at 2 brick intervals and hot glued to each pre-painted pillar. For the pillars, we cut 1-inch blocks and covered each one with pieces of brick road measuring 5 bricks high by 8 bricks in length. The top section and ball ornament of each pillar are hot glued into place. Using a pastry bag with a decorating tip, a product called Snow Accents is applied to the pillars and wall. A small artist brush dipped in water smooths the surface. We have used a variety of trees in our Christmas in the City display, some of which we produce ourselves like the sisal and birch tree, and others which have been constructed in the workshop. We use a somewhat unusual technique on the sisal trees. First, remove the base, and then trim the sides of the tree with scissors. The rest of the branches are pulled forward, and then the tree is set in place close to the building on an additional styrofoam elevation. We have used natural manzanita branches and painted touches of snow with gesso. We added more detail with the addition of reindeer moss. The moss is sprayed with snow flock. The branches are trimmed with a coping saw and the moss hot glued into place. The effect of the finished tree is quite extraordinary. We are now ready to add our accessories. And finish with snow. Baking soda is sprinkled over the busy city sidewalks. You may have a larger collection than what we have shown you and wonder, where can I display more of my pieces? You can consider using several locations within one room. We have taken our Dickens village and displayed many of the pieces on the buffet. And the rest of our collection as a centerpiece on the dining room table. Following our basic sequence, we have made a layout on poster board. This acts not only as our pattern, but as a protective covering for the buffet. We have chosen to use our own Department 56 village mountains for the Dickens display. Each mountain comes with sisal trees, which we will add later. But you may even want to add more detail of your own, such as moss or lichen. We make these ready-to-use foam mountains in 3 sizes, the largest and the smallest of which are shown here. Following the mountains, we add the rest of our base or elevations, and then the pond and waterfalls. For the skating pond, we begin with plain foil shiny side up. Crinkled wax paper is placed over the foil. This is topped with a piece of frosted plexiglass. We have added a spectacular waterfall to our village display. Using 8-inch strips of plastic wrap, attach one end to the top of the mountain with white adhesive tape. Pull the strips tight and hot glue to the plexi pawn placed at the base. Snip off the excess plastic wrap. Small rocks are hot glued around the base to cover the ends of the plastic wrap. A plexi pawn placed on the top level of our mountain hides the tape. Our next step is to place the light cords. And then the houses. Carefully placing our Dickens Village mill on the mountain by the pond. We continue with the rest of our electrical accessories. Our double street lamps fit perfectly into the Dickens setting. We hide the adapter behind one of the houses and tape or pin the wires down. Next, we add the roads. We have used several different types in this display. Our cobblestone road has been cut so that small pieces can be used under various houses. A slate road is a nice addition. This is a slight variation of the one we used in North Pole. Draw a pattern on your base or elevation. Glue each piece in place. Moss can be added to the road and throughout the display. You can also make roads out of the earth tone landscape material. Rock walls can be easily built out of different types of stone or slate and are a nice complement to our own churchyard gate and fence accessory. We've added a variety of trees throughout our display. Cold cast porcelain, topiaries, birch, and the handcrafted moss tree. The moss tree we showed you in Christmas in the City has a new look. Snow accents is applied to the moss using a pastry tube. Our favorite accessories are placed next, again beginning with the larger pieces and placing other accessories throughout the display. We have again chosen to use several types of snow. Our blanket of new fallen snow is used to tuck under some of the houses. Salt is sprinkled over the roads and around the landscaping. This is accented with Department 56 real plastic snow. We use a little trick to eliminate static cling from this snow. Put the snow into a large paper bag. Spray static guard into the bag and shake it around. Your snow will be cling-free forever. For our dining room table, we have started with the poster board pattern. Next, we place the foam bases and elevations. The foam, you remember, can be shaped in many ways with a wire brush, as we showed you earlier, or with sandpaper, or even by smoothing with another piece of foam. We have cut the holes for the mechanics and a channel for the extension cord, which runs over the edge of the table and can be attached to the leg with a twist tie. Sand off the bottom of the piece you have removed and replace it covering the cord. Tape the top of the foam with a white adhesive tape, and you will have a smooth, even surface. We place our light cords in houses, the town tree, street lamps, roads and walls, landscaping, accessories, and finally the snow, following our same sequence. Baking soda creates a realistic snowfall for this inviting display. Our centerpiece is now complete, and we are ready for our guests. A cozy corner becomes just the right spot for a village display beneath the tree. And here we have chosen to use the original snow village. We have raised the tree a few inches off the floor on a circular base, which we have draped with green fabric. The lower branches of the tree are removed, allowing more room to display and see the finished village. We're going to use styrofoam again to build the bases. Each section will be pinned together with floral picks. We are going to use our Department 56 animated skating pond in the display, and because of the size, we need to plan the space early on. We measure and cut the foam base to fit the contour of the skating pond. And then place it against the edge of the pond. The cord is tucked between the foam pieces and pulled to the back. We are making the large mountains for Snow Village out of blocks of polystyrene foam. This can easily be cut with a handsaw or nicely shaped with a hot wire. Next, brush on white gesso. This keeps the surface from crumbling and adds texture. With a natural sea sponge, we apply paint in realistic brown and green tones, over which white paint is added for snow. These mountains are placed towards the very back of the display. The underneath surface of the foam has been carved so the mountains fit snugly around the tree stand. The mountains in the front are made from upholstery foam, which is simply torn by hand to form an irregular shape. We then spray the foam with gray flex stone paint to achieve a stone-like finish. This paint comes in a variety of colors, which will complement numerous village settings. Once the mountains are in place, the single-socket light sets are attached and the houses can begin to be arranged. In addition to using our animated skating pond, we also add our Village Mylar skating pond. It comes in 14 by 17.5-inch sheets, which can be cut to any shape or size. We position it high on the hill in front of the Fisherman's Nook Resort. We continue by placing the rest of our electrical accessories. Dinah's Drive-In gets some special features. Using tacky wax, we've added the Department 56 string of village lights, as well as a few icicles. The track for the streetcar is laid around the outside of the village. The town tree is lighted. The street lights set. The railroad crossing is positioned, as well as the bright lights. The brick road is then cut to fit into the center of town. For landscaping, we have again used a variety of trees in an assortment of sizes. Now we are ready to add the accessories, and Tom has created some very special pieces. To design a Christmas maypole, first begin with a 6-inch circular foam core base. Hot glue a wooden dowel to the center of the base and paint it. Next, the middle point of our Christmas Eve trim garland is hot glued to the top of the pole. By twisting each strand several times before hot gluing the lower end to the base, each of the lights will stand out. A painted wooden ball ornament is added to the top for the perfect finishing touch. Miniature bales of hay add country charm to any display. Broken apart, what better setting for a hand-painted scarecrow and a pumpkin patch? Our clever treehouse is made of painted wood and sits within a manzanita branch. For the attached suspension bridge, we removed the picket edge from a length of snow fence and added posts and kite string railings. For our rail fence, we trimmed pre-cut strips of wood and hot glued the pieces together. One coat of paint is all you'll need. A realistic campfire is made by simply placing a flicker bulb into a recessed area of your styrofoam base. Next, we hot glued small twigs together, forming a teepee shape to place on top of the bulb. Earth tone landscape material makes the perfect ground cover. We have finished off the side of our display with the village blanket of new fallen snow. This can be tufted depending on space to incorporate other accessories or even more houses. And finally, scatter real plastic snow throughout the village. Just imagine, snow-laden trees, wreaths at the windows, and welcome mats out. The tradition continues.
And there you have it, our suggestions on how to achieve 4 beautiful displays that can be adapted into your own space and personalized with your own ideas. With just a little planning and your creative imagination, you are ready to begin to build a new holiday tradition. Happy holidays, and may all your Christmases be lighted.